She was 19 and sleeping in the back seat of a borrowed car that no longer started unless someone pushed it first. The windows didn't close all the way. Cold air slipped inside every night by morning. Her hoodie smelled like damp fabric gasoline and old fast food wrappers. A month earlier, Ava still had a home. Not a perfect one, but a place where her shoes sat by the door and her grandmother's. Old recipes stayed folded inside a kitchen drawer. Then one argument changed everything. Her stepfather called, her ungrateful. Her mother stayed silent. And by sunset, 2 trash bags filled with her clothes were sitting outside on the curb. No one followed her out. No one stopped her for days. Ava drove nowhere in particular until she found the listing old Carriage. House unsafe structure, private sale price. 6. The photo showed cracked brick walls and broken stable doors hanging crooked from rusted hinges. Most people would have laughed at it. Ava bought it anyway, because even broken places counted as shelter, but what she didn't know was someone had hidden something beneath those floorboards long before she arrived. Something buried so carefully it survived decades of silence. And the deeper Ava settled into that forgotten carriage house, the more the building started feeling like it remembered her somehow. Before we continue, if stories like this about survival, hidden histories, and finding hope in abandoned places mean something to you, take a moment to subscribe, because sometimes the quietest journeys leave the deepest marks. Ava's grandfather repaired carriages long after automobiles took over the town. Most people thought he was stubborn, but to him craft mattered. His name was Walter Bell. He worked slowly, patiently. Leather straps, wooden wheels, iron fittings. Polished by hand as a child, Ava spent weekends inside his workshop behind the old family home. The place smelled unforgettable, oil, sawdust, rain-soaked wood, and underneath it, all horses. Even after the stable emptied years earlier, the smell stayed trapped. Inside the beams, Walter spoke very little while working. But sometimes he told stories without warning. People throw things away too quickly. Now he would say while sanding cracked wood smooth again, "Broken doesn't mean finished." Ava never forgot that sentence, especially later. After life started breaking around her too, her grandmother Rose handled the quieter parts of life: cooking, mending clothes, writing grocery lists in careful cursive. Every winter evening she played old records while soup simmered slowly on the stove. The house always felt warm when she was there. Not rich, not easy, but warm. Then Walter got sick, slowly at first, hands shaking, memory fading. The workshop became quieter every year after that. When he died, something changed permanently inside. The family arguments replaced conversations, bills piled higher. Rose tried holding everyone together, but grief made the house smaller somehow. Then she passed away too. And after that, the family stopped feeling like family. Ava's mother worked constantly. Her stepfather drank more. Every conversation turned sharp by 19. Ava learned how to stay invisible inside her own home. Small dinners, quiet footsteps, locked bedroom door, until the night everything exploded. It started over. Money ended with shouting. Her stepfather called her deadweight. Her mother looked down at the floor. That part hurt most because silence sometimes cuts deeper than anger. Ava packed quietly. No dramatic goodbye, just the sound of trash bags rustling while rain tapped the windows outside. Before leaving, she grabbed one thing from her closet, Walter's old brass measuring tool, heavy, cold, worn, smooth at the edges. She didn't know why she took it, only that leaving it behind felt wrong. The carriage house sat beyond the edge of town near abandoned farmland and overgrown fences. Ava arrived just before sunset. The road leading there barely looked used anymore. Tall weeds scraped against her car doors as she drove slowly forward. When she finally saw the structure, her stomach tightened. The building leaned slightly to one side. Brick walls cracked from years of storms. Half the windows boarded shut. An old weather vane creaked softly on the roof whenever wind passed through. Still, something about it felt strangely calm. Not welcoming, just iron like it had spent years waiting quietly. Ava stepped inside carrying one flashlight and 2 bags of clothes. Dust floated through narrow beams of fading sunlight. The wooden floor groaned beneath every step. Somewhere deeper inside, water dripped steadily into metal. The old stable stalls remained along one wall. Rusty hooks still hung where lanterns once sat decades earlier. And near the center of the floor, one section of wood looked darker than the rest. Ava noticed it immediately, then looked away, because exhaustion mattered more than curiosity that first night. She spread a blanket across the floor and listened to the building breathe around her. Wind through cracks, wood settling slowly, rain beginning again outside. But sometime after midnight, another sound appeared. Hollow knock beneath the floorboards. 3 soft taps, then silence. The sound returned the next night and the night after that, always near the center of the carriage house. At first Ava blamed pipes, animals, loose boards shifting in cold weather. But one thing bothered her: the tapping only happened after midnight, never before. Days passed. She cleaned carefully to keep busy, sweeping dust, removing broken furniture, opening windows jammed shut for years. The deeper she cleaned, the stranger the building became. Inside, one stable stall. She found old horseshoes arranged neatly on a shelf untouched by dust. In another corner she discovered faded initials carved into wood beams. B. Walter Bell. Her heartbeat slowed. That didn't make sense. Walter never mentioned owning this place. So why were his initials here? That night Ava walked the carriage house slowly with her flashlight. The darker section of floor near the center bothered her more now. The board sounded different beneath her footsteps, hollow, and near one edge, she noticed tiny scratch marks, not random marks, tool marks. Someone had opened those boards before, very carefully. A cold feeling moved through her chest. She knelt down, ran her fingers along the wood, and found something trapped inside the crack between boards. Small folded piece of paper, brittle with age. Ava unfolded it carefully. Only 4 words appeared in faded ink. Some things stay buried. No signature, no explanation, just those words. Rain hammered the roof harder outside, and suddenly the carriage house no longer felt abandoned. It felt secretive. The next morning Ava searched for tools. Most were rusted, useless, but inside an old cabinet she found a pry bar wrapped carefully in cloth. The cloth smelled faintly like machine oil, fresh enough to surprise her, as if someone touched it years after the building was supposedly abandoned. That thought stayed with her all day. Late that evening she noticed another strange detail. One lantern hook near the center beam turned slightly when touched. Not loose. Intentional. A hidden mechanism. Ava pulled harder. A soft click echoed beneath the floor. Her breathing stopped. Slowly, one floorboard shifted upward slightly by itself. Dust rose into the flashlight beam. The tapping sound came again beneath her feet. Closer this time. Almost, like movement settling below. Fear crawled into her stomach. But curiosity pulled harder. She used the pry bar carefully. One board lifted. Then another. Beneath them, narrow wooden hatch hidden perfectly beneath the floor. Structure Walter's initials burned into the handle. WB. Ava stared at them silently for a long time, then finally pulled the hatch open. Cold air drifted upward from darkness below. The ladder creaked beneath her weight as she climbed down slowly. The hidden room underneath the carriage house was not large, but it was preserved carefully. Dust-covered shelves lined with wrapped bundles, old tools, metal lockboxes, leather journals stacked neatly against one wall. And at the center, a heavy wooden chest. Ava's hands trembled as she opened it. Inside, bundles of cash sealed inside wax paper, gold coins, property deeds, rare antique carriage ornaments collectors would pay fortunes for, enough money to completely change her life. But beneath everything else lay one final object, Walter's journal. The leather cover cracked softly when she opened it. Inside, page after page described years of hidden work. Walter secretly restored valuable historical carriage pieces for wealthy collectors during hard financial times. He hid earnings beneath the carriage house to protect the family during emergencies, but deeper into the journal, the truth became more painful. Walter knew the family would eventually fall apart after he died. He wrote, "Grief makes people forget how to love each other properly." Ava's eyes filled slowly. Near the final pages sat a folded letter addressed directly to her. If you found this, it read, then life became heavier than I wanted for you. She covered her mouth to stop herself from crying out loud. Walter explained he bought the Carriage house secretly, years earlier, not as an investment, as protection, a place to survive if the family ever lost itself completely. Near the bottom of the letter he wrote, "You were always stronger than the house you grew up inside." Ava cried quietly in that hidden room while rain struck the floorboards overhead. Not because she discovered money, because someone had seen her loneliness long before she understood it herself. Ava stayed, not because it was easy, because leaving suddenly felt impossible. The first winter nearly broke her pipes froze. Part of the roof collapsed during heavy snow. Most of the hidden money went toward repairs faster than expected. She made mistakes constantly, trusted dishonest contractors, bought cheap materials twice, burned herself trying to repair old heating lines. But slowly, the Carriage house changed. A retired carpenter from town offered advice after recognizing Walter's name. An elderly neighbor taught Ava how to repair antique leather harnesses properly. Little by little, the building breathed. Again, Ava restored the stable stalls first, then the workshop. Then the upstairs loft where dust-covered windows finally let sunlight inside again. Years later, people visited from nearby towns to see the restored Carriage house workshop. But Ava kept the hidden room untouched. Not because of the treasure, because that room reminded her something important. Love sometimes survives in secret places, long after families stop knowing how to show it. Some people inherit anger, some inherit silence. But sometimes someone leaves behind shelter in ways the world never sees. Walter understood something Ava did not yet know. A broken home can convince you that you are unwanted, but hidden care survives quietly, waiting patiently, like light beneath old floorboards.